Hello, everybody, and welcome. It's a Tuesday night. That's right, a Tuesday night, and we're bringing you Rasslin and Racin, brought to you by Ardensburg and Grill, Central South Carolina, and also Beef and Ribbon, Westminster, South Carolina. Also, Pepsi Cola, one of our great sponsors, and all of our sponsors. Of course, we also brought to you mostly by Greenville Sports Media, so we want to thank them and everything they do for us. Well, folks, let's get him in here. We haven't spoke to him in a while. We need to hear his voice because, of course, since we last spoke to him, he's had a birthday. That's right, Ref Brandon. Brandon, talk to us.
I'm doing absolutely fantastic, Jay. And, I went to bed a week and a half ago on a Saturday night as a 40-year-old man looking good, and I woke up a 41-year-old man and even sexier. So I'm doing good.
I hear you. Well, Brandon, let's get right to it. A lot of great things going on. And first, I want you to tell us a little bit about what you've been doing.
Well, this past Saturday, I actually had a wrestling show for AWS in Gastonia, North Carolina at the Gastonia VFW building. They have bingo there on Friday night, and they have wrestling there twice a month on Saturday nights for two different promotions. That was this past Saturday. They started at 5:30, and this upcoming Saturday I've got two shows in the same day, one in the afternoon and one at night. If you want to talk about that later on, we can.
Okay. Well, Brandon, let's get into NASCAR. We got a lot of wrestling to go over, so let's quickly get into some NASCAR. Tell us what happened this past weekend. All I know is Alex Bowman was able to secure the win barely.
Well, you must have got some false either false information or they changed the lineup since Sunday because Shane Van Gisbergen got credited with the win.
I had to throw that in there just
it's funny because you go back to around about this time about a year ago, you and I talked about Harrison Burton making the playoffs, and a lot of the old school NASCAR fans weren't happy with it because he did nothing the whole year, and then he made the playoffs based on that one win. Well, it's been the same way this year with Shane Van Gisbergen, except even worse. Now, Harrison Burton had a couple of top tens last year and ran up front and some, but Shane Van Gisbergen has now won two races, the last two road courses they've been on. And outside of that, he ain't got a lap. He ain't had a top five. He ain't had a top 10. He's 27th in the points right now. So unless he falls down 4 spots in the next handful of weeks, he's going to make the playoffs based on those 2 wins. Now, I don't think there's any chance at all of him winning a championship. But just the fact that he's going to make it because he's got 2 wins and done nothing the rest of the season, that's the kind of things that's going to get the old school NASCAR fans, perturbed because, wins are great, but when you're finishing dead last every other race except the ones you win, those wins shouldn't mean a whole lot. But Shane Van Gisbergen won. We had Ty Gibbs, Tyler Reddick, Denny Hamlin, Kyle Busch, AJ Allmendinger, Ryan Preece, Alex Bowman, Austin Hill, and Ross Chastain was the top 10. It was the Chicago Street Course, and the race was called Grant Park 165.
Well, my guy finished 10th. I'm happy. Of course, I got Tyler Reddick this year, so he actually had a top 5. So,
yeah.
Great hearing some NASCAR. But Brandon, we got to get straight on into pro wrestling, and a lot has happened since we last talked. We've had some pay-per-views, but we want to get into what's happening now. That's right. And the first thing we want to talk about is WWE Saturday Night Main Event coming up this Saturday night. And, Ref, we've got 3 matches right now. And the first one we want to talk about is Drew McIntyre versus Randy Orton. Drew McIntyre returning after being injured. What's your thoughts on this particular match?
Well, I gotta, be honest. For the longest time, here on the podcast, I talked about how, Triple H was doing a phenomenal phenomenal job with the storytelling. And, AEW had great wrestling, but the storytelling was awful. And it seems like since WrestleMania, really, they've kind of gone in complete reversal. Now WWE storytelling has gotten awful, and AEW storytelling is really, really good. And it kind of makes you wonder, is there somebody, behind the scenes in WWE that's now trying to write the stories? Because it's hard to believe that Triple H comes along and it was so good for so long, and now all of a sudden it's just hit rock bottom. What's happened? I told my wife, and I've told some of the guys I wrestle with and everybody at work that watches wrestling, that I have completely given up on this Seth Rollins faction. To me, it's dead. I mean, it's the dumbest thing I've ever seen. I have no hope for it. And when Drew McIntyre came back last week, it was kind of the same way. Drew McIntyre came back, and it was like, it was a dud. There was nothing to it. The promo wasn't good. I mean, they could have been more built up than that.
I agree, and I think he's a better superstar than what they're pushing him as, and I think he deserves a world title run. I honestly think that he does the work. He does good promos. He gets in there and does anything they ask him to do. I really think Drew is well past this, and I hope that they give him the win over Orton. Nothing against Randy Orton. I think Orton needs to finish his career on a high note too, but I just think Drew McIntyre's been taking a lot of losses that he should have had wins for.
Yeah, and it's almost like they understand that Drew McIntyre is so good and that he's gonna put A+ effort in to make everything he does look good. So they're kind of like, well, let's don't worry about it. We know Drew's going to do great, and he does. But he should also be rewarded for doing great, and he's just kind of there. I mean, nothing he's done in the last 6 months has really been extraordinary. Ever since his feud with Damian Priest, it's kind of just been flat. I mean, he's kind of just been stuck in mid-card purgatory, and he's better than that.
Yep, exactly. Well, the next wrestling match we want to talk about, now, like me and Riff was talking about off camera, there's probably going to be one more match added. We'll probably find out at SmackDown, but we're just going with the 3 matches we got now. Seth Rollins versus LA Knight. Of course, this past Monday night, there was a lot of matches that had to do with this particular match. Rollins ended up getting a win over not La Parka. I don't know why I called him La Parka. Anyway, Rollins got the win Monday night, and but when he was going to take out, what is his name, man? I just went completely. El Mirador. No. You know who I'm talking about, Ref, right?
You talking about on Raw last night?
Yeah, Seth Rollins fought in the mask.
Oh, it's my El Grande Americano?
No.
Oh, okay.
The the brothers. Lucha Brothers.
Oh, you're talking about Ray Phoenix and Fooey. What's his brother's name?
Yeah.
Penta.
Yeah, Penta. There we go. We're both sitting here going, what is it? Like,
when you said mask, first thing across my mind was El Grande Americano, because everybody tried to say it was Chad. Everybody tried to say it was Chad Gable, but Chad Gable's out hurt, and we still see El Grande Americano, so obviously it wasn't Chad Gable.
Yeah. But it was Penta last night when he went to destroy Penta and have his guys come down. Of course, LA Knight came in and got him real good and ran off into the crowd. Of course, like Brandon was talking about, he's not too happy with the way they're doing this. Basically, it's Bloodline 3.0, because we still got another Bloodline sitting in there.
It is. And after we run down all of our matches this weekend, I'm going to try to explain why the whole thing makes no sense to me. We'll run down all the matches first.
Yep. And then, of course, the main event is Gunther versus Goldberg. Gunther has come out 3 weeks in a row, called Goldberg out. Goldberg shows up, and I guess a weak entrance. I mean, it was the old Stone Cold version where you come riding in a car, spinning the wheels, walks in, pushes Gunther. Basically looked like he was going to, give him the spear, but then Gunther rolls out. the build up to this, I mean, they keep trying to say, well, if Goldberg wins, he's already said, well, that's going to be an interesting thing. He's not going to win, folks. We already know that. This is just a way to get Gunther over one more time. I think this Saturday night's main event is probably going to be one of the worst ones they've put together. What's your thoughts on that, Brandon?
Yeah, I think it is, but it's kind of hard not to be though when you've got SummerSlam in 3 weeks, and then just this weekend alone you're doing Great American Bash and you're doing main event Evolution. So you're trying to do 3 PLEs in the same weekend. And then Evolution had to pretty much be completely rebooked because of the injury to Liv Morgan.
Yep.
So right now they've done too many at one time. There was not one at all last weekend, and then there's not one next weekend. So why are you doing 3 in the same weekend? We got Great American Bash Saturday afternoon, main event Saturday night, and then Evolution Sunday night. There's no point having 3 in the same weekend when you had none last weekend and none next weekend. So yeah, it's badly booked because they're doing too many at one time.
Well, not only that, we all know the real reason. They're trying to compete. They're trying to put AEW's PLE numbers down because they're going to give Saturday night's main event for free, even though we have now found out AEW is going to be starting at 3 o'clock on Saturday. So no midnight, going into midnight with AEW. This, even though it's a jam-packed card. I mean, the card is.
The way Tony Khan does, they'll start at 3 and it won't end until about 9:30.
Well, 9:30 is better than midnight or 1 o'clock in the morning. So, and then you got a presser after that, So,
yeah.
But the whole thing is this is WWE's way of trying to strip AEW because fans can get just completely, even good wrestling fans like myself and you. Sometimes you got to take a break, and when you got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 pay-per-view type things in one weekend.
Yeah, I hate it because we know if you just look at attendance numbers and TV numbers, AEW is not anywhere close to WWE. They're just not. But the problem is because originally All In was scheduled to be starting Saturday night. Well, then WWE announced the main event for Saturday night. So then AEW moved up their start time till 3 o'clock. Well, then WWE came back and said, we'll have match at 3 o'clock. So AEW tried to move themselves around for WWE, and they still scheduled a show at the same time. So even though they're not competition, you make people look like and think they're competition because you're scheduling your shows to make sure people watch you and not AEW, so you kind of can't come out and say they're not competition, even though they're really not, but it does look that way when you're scheduling your shows to make sure people watch you and not them. If they're not competition, then why are you scheduling your TV product around them? I know why they do this because you want to be the one that's watched. You want to make sure, since AEW All In is their biggest show of the year, you want to make sure that whatever you do is bigger than what AEW does, so that when Saturday night comes, you still remember what WWE did over what AEW did. I understand that, but you can't say they're not competition and then turn around at the same time and schedule an event the same time they've got one, because you make it look like they're competition.
Well, and though WWE's numbers are still higher than AEW, though they have been dropping, AEW's numbers have been growing. And I mean growing massively. And not only that, we're talking numbers that are just on TV. The Max deal has actually been doing a lot better than what a lot of people thought. And this is why AEW is looking at a third show, kind of like what WWE is doing, where they've got their Collision, they've got Dynamite, and they're not going to be bringing back Rampage. What I'm hearing is a show called Shockwave, which will is supposed to be a lot of more of the ROH with some AEW thrown into it.
Yeah, I think they've been listening to our podcast because, we've been saying for over a year now that, AEW's had the best talent as far as wrestling. but you've got too many wrestling fans that need a story. They need a reason why the match is happening. And Tony Khan was just throwing matches together so you couldn't get into it. But now the past 4 months, and they've actually focused more on storytelling, it's odd they do that, and all of a sudden people are watching. So people do care about storylines, and that's kind of what's hurt WWE is ever since WrestleMania, their storytelling has just been bad. So even though a lot of the modern day wrestling fans try to claim the storylines don't matter, this kind of shows that they do matter because AEW is finally focused on them, and guess what? Now they're actually being watched now. So if they focus more on it more, they're going to continue to grow. They've had the best wrestling, they just had no meaning behind the matches. Now there's actually meaning behind the matches.
Yep, I agree with you. All right, well, let's go into WWE Evolution. This is the women's pay-per-view that'll be coming up on Sunday. We're just going to go right off the top. Let's just go ahead. Let's Rhea Ripley versus Io Sky for the Women's World Championship. I got Rhea Ripley in this one. Ref, who you got?
Io Sky retains.
You think Io Sky will hold on to it? I think that.
Yeah, I think if they give Rhea the belt back, which they will, it's going to be at a bigger event than Evolution.
I think we didn't think Io Sky was going to win it 2 weeks before WrestleMania.
No, we didn't.
And if they're going the way they're going, I see him putting it on Ripley to make SummerSlam bigger and have Ripley versus maybe Naomi, who's got the money in the bank and could possibly try to go in there and get it off of there and get her onto a different show minus the one that she's going to be battling. So that's just my thoughts on it.
Yeah, I'll stick with Io.
All right, the next one is Tiffany versus Trish Stratus for the WWE Women's Championship. Give me Trish Stratus by disqualification.
Yeah, I can see that because I think the only reason she's come back really is because of the injury to not Alexa Bliss, Liv Morgan. They've had to redo it. So I think they just did all they could do. They still got spots open. I don't think they planned 6 months ahead of time for Tiffany to face Trish Stratus. So I can see Trish winning by DQ, but I don't think she wins the belt. But I say Tiffany just beats her clean.
Yeah, well, the only reason why I figured they brought her back is because she was part of the first one, and so why not bring her back just to be a part of the second one? I mean, because I think they're saving the Queen of the Ring versus Tiffany at SummerSlam. All right, the next one is the NXT Women's Championship. Is it Jessie Jane versus Jordan Grace? Give me Jordan Grace in this to win the title.
Yeah, I think it's about time for Jordan to win the championship, so I can go with that.
All right, the next one after that's the WWE Women's Tag Team Championships. Now we know who all is going to be facing each other. It's going to be Raquel Rodriguez and Roxanne Perez defending the titles against Alexa Bliss, Charlotte Flair, the Raw Tag Team of the Kabuki Warriors, who just got put back together, and then of course tonight will be the NXT ladies. I forgot their names right off the top of my head, but give me Alexa Bliss and Charlotte Flair in this one. I think that the Women's Tag Team Championships, they're going to put it because of the storyline they're doing with Bliss and Flair. Just them two, they don't want to mix, but I think this brings them together. And of course, like me and you had talked before, Alexa Bliss seems to get in all these pay-per-views, but you never see her for a singles title, but she never seems to factor in it. So this is why I think this is where she factors in.
Yeah, but honestly, I don't know if that is really going to help her any because, to me, they should have done away with these tag team belts a long time ago because they don't really have enough consistent women's tag team wrestlers to have women's tag team championships. And to me, it hasn't helped any woman's career by winning them, and you just take random tag teams and throw them together. So to me, the titles are pointless to begin with, but I can see Alexa and Charlotte getting these belts. I just hope they don't do another Kane, Daniel Bryan thing where they win the belts and start fighting that way, and that leads to an eventual feud, because I've seen that too many times.
Yep. All right, the Women's Intercontinental Championship, Becky Lynch versus Bayley versus Lyra Valkyria. I can't see them taking it off of Becky, but if anybody's going to win, it's going to be Bayley.
I wish they'd give it to Bayley because to me, Bayley's kind of been lost in the shuffle. She really hasn't done anything of substance in forever. But I think Becky Lynch will win the match.
All right, then we got the Women's Battle Royal. The participants have still not all been named, but in this particular Battle Royal, I think we're going to see the return of the EST. Give me her.
Yeah, I can go with that. Unless we see some surprise entrant that goes out there and wins it.
Well, we heard that Nikki Bella's going to be added to it since her match with has been, basically took away from her due to her injury. So I just don't see her winning it and going on to the next one. I think somebody like she's not Mariah May anymore, but she's in NXT. I can see her doing it. But I think what I hear, the EST is supposed to be returning, so I'll take her in this particular match.
Yeah, but they've got so many matches that almost everybody that's on Raw or SmackDown is anybody anyway relevant is in a match. So unless this is going to be a 5-woman Rumble, they're going to have to either use NXT stars or bring back old stars because there's nobody left being a Rumble.
Yeah, well, they said there's going to be some surprises, so I can see like a Mickie James showing up. I can see, Holly, Molly Holly. I mean, when they do the Rumble, Royal Rumble for the women, you always get some that just out of nowhere. So I think you'll see some legends from the past. But anyway, that match, I think if EST shows up, EST wins.
Need to bring back Jacqueline Moore.
Oh, well, you never know. All right, now final match of this pay-per-view is Jade Cargill versus Naomi. No holds barred match. Jade Cargill wins this match. Naomi's the Money in the Bank briefcase holder, but they're building up Cargill for SummerSlam, so I think Cargill wins this match.
I do too, and honestly, I think the more I watch Jade Cargill wrestle, she botched the finish a couple of weeks ago at Night of Champions. I think they need to book her like Goldberg was booked, or like Jay was booked in AEW. She needs about 2-minute matches, and that's it. Because it's obvious by now that she's just not a very good wrestler. She's got the look, but she's not very good. And the longer her matches go, the more she watches. They need to get her in there and get her out.
Yeah. All right, well, let's go over to AEW All In Texas, and boy, what a pay-per-view. They've been adding a few extra matches to it because of some titles that were not being used at first, but we found out this past Saturday on Collision that Adam Cole will defend his AEW TNT Championship versus Kyle Fletcher. Give me Adam Cole in this. I know Fletcher beat Garcia, but give me Adam Cole.
Yeah, so far we're agreeing because I'll pick Adam Cole too.
All right, AEW Women's World Championship, Timeless Toni Storm versus Mercedes Moné.
And this is, a match I've thought about because, for the longest time we always talked about, AEW had pay-per-views just threw matches together, so you never knew, who could win because either one made sense. But now they've done such a good job booking lately that I can see either one of them winning, and it makes sense both ways because if Toni Storm wins, well, then they can continue the feud because Mercedes has 85 championships, but the one big one she can't get. But also, if Mercedes wins, they can continue the feud where it looks like, oh, Mercedes is so good, and she's got every belt now. And then Toni comes back for revenge to get her belt back. So I can see either one winning, but I'm going to say that just because of the fact Mercedes has not lost yet, I think she wins.
All right. Give me Timeless Toni Storm. I just don't see him putting every title on Mercedes. And actually, from what I understand, she's going to be losing a couple of them pretty soon. Of course, she's got 7, so I mean.
Yeah, that's the only bad part about her having all these championships is because her first 10 matches. She watched everything. She's actually done really good here lately. But, you've got all these belts. And now, if you lose them all one by one, then what was the purpose of looking so dominant? All of a sudden, you got to start losing like crazy. What's she going to do? Just forfeit all the championships and give them all up?
Yep. All right. Let's get to the next one. Winner takes all match for the AEW Continental Championship and the AEW International Championship. Now, this is a little thing that kind of threw me off on this. They're actually going to have a unified title, but they're not getting rid of either one of these titles. So it's going to be like someone's going to be holding 3 belts when this is all said and done. So that's the only thing that I got to quirk with this, but the actual match is going to be freaking crazy as we have been waiting for this. Okada versus Omega. Give me Kenny Omega.
Well, all these parents nowadays, they want all their kids to get a trophy, all their kids to be winners so nobody loses. That's kind of what AEW does. Everybody in the company got championships. They're always inventing new belts, so it makes sense they make another belt. Now they've got probably 105 championships. But I kind of felt like they rushed this match. The way they booked it, they booked about 4 weeks of programming in one night. And it was kind of like, dang, y'all just killed that. Y'all just killed a whole month of TV in one night. So the way they booked it from the outset was terrible. But since then, it's been booked fantastic. And I'll go with Okada.
All right. Jon Moxley defends the AEW World Championship versus Hangman Adam Page in a Texas death match.
Well, Jon Moxley is the worst world champion of all time, and the first guy you ever seen that wins a championship and then don't show nobody. It shows how low the totem pole the belt is again. I don't know. It still makes no sense to me. But I think it's about time for him to lose that belt, so I'll go with Hangman Adam Page.
I agree with you. I think Adam Page wins it, and we get the new AEW World Championship because I got a feeling that the reason why they've had it in a supposed briefcase that really couldn't hold that belt. If you look at the briefcase and what the belt was, it wouldn't have fit in there. So I got a feeling we're going to see a new belt revealed on the following night. All right, then we got the AEW TNT Championship, which we already talked about. Adam Cole, we both got him over Kyle Fletcher. Then we have the men's casino gauntlet match. Contestants are still to be determined. Same with the women's contestants. The only thing we know about the men's is that we've got number 1 will be, of course, our good buddy Briscoe. And then we have not AJ. I was about to say AJ Styles. You know who I'm talking about. With the Hurt Syndicate.
Which one?
MJF. Yeah, MJF will be number 2. That's all we really know at this point. As far as the contestants for the men's and for the women's. Statlander is going to be 1, and I can't remember who's going to be 2. I think they're going to be doing that this week on Dynamite. So that's all we really know about that. That match is going to be kind of like the Women's Royal Rumble, where you just don't know who's showing up, who's coming in. So let's move on over to the AEW World Tag Team Championships. The Hurt Syndicate, Bobby Lashley, Shelton Benjamin, take on Jet Speed, Mike Bailey, Kevin Knight versus the Patriarchy, Christian Cage and Nick Wayne. And Ref, I'm going to let you say something first on this, and then I'm going to give you my opinion.
Well, I say the Hurt Syndicate wins again and continues the recent dominance they've been on. So far, they've been booked exceptionally well, which I'm glad they have been, especially with Bobby Lashley's age and Shelton's age. They've been booked, phenomenal. So I say they win, but somehow, some way, I think that Christian Cage and Edge reunite in this match. Somehow, maybe after the match, but somehow they get back together right here.
You kind of stole my thunder. I've actually got Christian Cage and Edge winning the titles. I think Nick Wayne supposedly gets hurt or something happens either between now. We got Dynamite and we got Collision back to back on Wednesday, Thursday because of the pay per view on Saturday. I think Nick Wayne gets hurt or something happens where Christian Cage needs a partner and out of nowhere comes Edge. Edge and Christian Cage win the titles after Shelton Benjamin will be the one that gets the spear. I don't see it happening to Lashley. We know Bayley and Knight are injured right now, so I do not see them winning the titles. I see there's just been so much about what's going to happen with these guys. And I just think this is going to be the point and the perfect time for a surprise by bringing Edge back.
See, I kind of see the Hurt Syndicate winning, and then Nick Wayne gets taken out, and then they try to take out Christian Cage, and then that's when Edge comes out and helps him.
Yeah, it's crazy. And the last one I got right now is Bandito taking on. I just lost his name. Kanishiki Shikata, is that his name? He's with Don Callis family.
You talking about Takeshita?
Takeshita, yeah. I tell you, I get so tongue twisted on their names. So, but yeah, I see Takeshita winning that match and beating Bandito and becoming the ROH World Champion.
Yeah, his name should be pronounced Takeshita, but then you see it as Takeshita, and then they say Takeshita to get you all confused because it does not look like it should be pronounced Takeshita.
Yeah, I get lost with it. And then I'm hearing there's going to be a 6-man tag team match where Samoa Joe and his group will be taking on another group from the Don Callis family, or it could be the Samoa Joe group versus what's left of the Death Riders, which what I understand could be adding a member out of nowhere. Could be happening this weekend.
We've only, I think you count the gauntlet matches. I think you, off the top of my head, had 8 matches. We know AEW is going to be at least 10. They always are, so there'll be at least 2 more.
Yep, so that's about what we got this week. Now, Ref, what was you wanting to come back at and talk about?
Oh, 2 things. One was that I have 2 wrestling shows this Saturday in case anybody wants to come to one or both. They're both within driving distance. One is 1 o'clock Saturday afternoon. I'll be at the South Carolina Peach Festival, which is in Gaffney, South Carolina, for Wrestling for Christ. And since it's Peach Festival, they only get a 2-hour window, so it'll start at 1 o'clock and will be done by 3 o'clock. And it's free. Anybody wants to come, it's free. Can't beat that. And then I'll be leaving there and heading to SWA for Resurrection, which is our second biggest show of the year behind Fightmare in October. And we're going to have a 2 out of 3 falls match. We're going to have a last man standing match. We're going to have a falls count anywhere match. We're going to have a triple threat match, a 3-way tag team match for tag team titles. So 2 shows Saturday, 1 o'clock, Peach Festival in Gaffney, South Carolina, and then 7 o'clock, SWA, Eastern Island, Georgia. And the other thing was I wanted to see if you agree with me about the whole Seth Rollins thing, because to me, I've given it time. I know they finally, after all this time, got a name, but I've always said that Seth Rollins is a fantastic wrestler, and Seth Rollins is great on the microphone, but I've never thought Seth Rollins could carry a company. He's not Cody Rhodes. He's not Roman Reigns. He's not Stone Cold. He just can't carry the company, and I've always felt that way, and I'm not sure why, because he's got all the tools. He has the look. He has the promos. He has the in-ring ability. He just can't carry a company. But this whole thing makes no sense because, first of all, if you go back and watch Paul Heyman, everything Paul Heyman's ever done has always looked natural. It's always looked genuine. It's always looked normal. ever since they started this faction, Paul Heyman just looks like he is completely uncomfortable. It looks like all this is forced. The second thing is, the last time we saw Bronson Reed, he tried to kill Seth Rollins, gave him 6 tsunami drops, and now they're together. It took them 4 months to tell us why they're together. And they're supposed to be a faction, and factions are supposed to be everybody's on equal footing. They're all together. They pretty much made Braun and Bronson be Seth Rollins' henchmen. I don't think you're helping Bronson or Braun by making them follow Seth Rollins. If you don't think Seth Rollins can be a heel by himself, why make him heel? And what makes it worse is he keeps the same music. He's supposed to be a bad guy, but he goes out there wanting the crowd to sing with him. That makes 0 sense to me. None of this faction thing, maybe nothing to get go, makes any sense to me at all. None of it.
Well, and me and you discussed the music thing once before. You know, the same thing with Stone Cold. When he was a bad guy, people still loved Stone Cold. They still loved to hear his music. Now, it's not like it is now where you have everybody in the crowd, but I think a lot of what's going on now is because of what American fans are seeing when they have these pay-per-views overseas and the fans are singing the songs. I mean, Randy Orton's song and, you know, Edge, when he was AEW and they went to Australia, and when you see these foreign fans loving it so much that they'll sing the songs word for word, and during the matches they're doing their chants and all that. American fans are like, okay, wait a second, we can't sit there quiet no more. We've got to show that we've got, if we want to keep the pay-per-views here in the United States, we're going to have to show that we're, you know, can give some excitement. So that's my thing with the music. The music thing really has nothing to do with anything. I mean, even Seth 2 weeks ago was pissed because he's like, you sing my song and then you chant CM Punk. You know, it is what it is on that. As far as the faction itself, I think they're already building it by what they did this past Monday. Braun grabs the mic when Paul goes to hand it to Seth. I think that they're already starting to put the little scratches in your head. Okay, whoa, wait a second. What was that? Because Seth and Paul didn't like it at first until he said that he was going to destroy Sami Zayn for good. And, you know, once again, the fact, like you said, the faction was kind of thrown together. The Bronson Reed thing, I agree with you. I didn't understand him. I did understand Breaker because, you know, if you're gonna have a guy that's gonna destroy people like a Roman Reigns or someone that can watch your back, you're gonna have to have someone like a Braun Breaker who's just out there killing people, ripping people in half with that spear. I mean, even the Undertaker said that Breaker, they should bar the spear from everybody but Breaker, because Breaker does the spear better than Edge. He does it better than Christian. He does it better than anybody because he basically rips somebody in half.
I mean, he looks like he kills you when he does it. He really does.
Yeah, and he even said that there's a couple times that, you know, the ones that they said was his best spears, he's like, I barely hit him. He's like, I really didn't, you know, put enough into it. He said, I've killed some people before, and people said that really wasn't that good. And he said,
I mean, I think long-term plan is they're going to have Braun turn on Seth and make Braun the monster heel. But that's fine. But why not just have Braun come out and attack Seth during the match? Why start a faction and include Bronson Reed for no reason? Just have Braun come back and turn on Seth. That makes 0 sense.
Well, that goes back to what you said. The WWE right now has really fallen off on a lot of things, and I know a lot of people are going to say, well, look at all the injuries that they got. Well, you know what? There's also been things where they said, why would you book these people, your main big stars, in some of these crazy matches right before pay-per-view, and knowing that things like that can happen? I mean, I understand you got to have, but heck, if I had a pay-per-view coming up, I wouldn't have any of my biggest stars. This would be the time I would use the people that don't get as much TV time. I would be trying to build up them a little bit. So, hey, at the next pay-per-view, you can throw a different match at people and get their interest into something else other than the same freaking people each and every pay-per-view.
They almost kind of, you know, that's kind of why they got rid of the house shows, was because, you know, these guys are wrestling, you know, 300 times a year. But it seems like ever since they got rid of the house shows, there's more injuries.
Yes.
Maybe now they're not doing it enough. I don't know, but it just seems like ever since the house shows went away, the injuries have gotten gotten worse, but it almost seems like when it gets close to a PLE, they need to have about 3 or 4 matches and then go back to the old days where you're just showing highlights. That way you can build up to the next PLE without anybody, taking a chance of getting injured.
Exactly. I mean, this would have been like this Raw. I would have had the Chad Gable's guys that are not on the pay-per-view. Get them in a match versus the New Day. I mean, let's get, it's not like these guys are getting used this much. Karrion Kross would have been perfect. Now, yeah, they had him jump Sami Zayn, but that would have been a perfect time to have Karrion Kross take on somebody and let him win. You know what I'm saying? Just let's start building up these other guys, because you know what? If someone goes down, we got a feud that's already kind of started that we could throw in there and not miss a beat. But I'm just a wrestling fan. I'm not. I'm not Triple H.
I hope you're right about Goldberg. After this, we'll sign off, Jay. But I hope you're right about Goldberg. But since it's Atlanta, part of me believes he's going to win that championship Saturday. I hope not.
No.
I hope not. But part of me believes either he will, and Seth Rollins comes out and cashes in, or he will, and he'll come out on Monday Night Raw, and then either forfeit the title or say, well, I was going to retire, but since I got the belt, I got to stick around. Part of me believes he's going to win that belt.
No, you know what? But you know what? Even if he wins, that would be, if you make it to where Gunther attacks him after the match and tries to put him down, and have Seth run in and cash it in and get the title, so that way he wins it but loses it in the same night. You know what I'm saying? Something like that. We've seen that before. It's not like it's never been done. So WWE, that would be something that they're used to, is someone cashing in at the quote greatest time to do it. So
there's not a doubt in my mind that as good as Gunther is, he'll make Goldberg look good. I don't doubt that at all. But even back when Goldberg was in his prime, he couldn't wrestle. So there's only so much you can do with the guy. But just because it's Goldberg's hometown, part of me believes he wins that belt, and I sure do hope not.
All right, well, Ref, hey, we got the most important question that you did not answer tonight, and I cannot believe you didn't answer this. Is the boss going to be at these wrestling shows you're going to be at? Is she going to be at the wrestling shows? Everybody wants to know, is the boss going to be there? They don't want to know about Ref Brandon. They don't want to know about me. They want to know, is the boss going to be at the shows?
Well, you're right. Nobody cares about the ref, so you're right about that. But I can't talk her into going to the Peach Festival Saturday, but she will be at Resurrection Saturday night. She manages Teo, so she'll be in Teo's corner. And she might even be in Brent Hudson's corner, but I know for sure she'll be in Teo's corner. But I can't quite talk her into being at the Peach Festival, so I'll be alone at the Peach Festival. But she'll be there Saturday night.
Well, you heard that, fans. If you want to see her, you're going to have to go Saturday night. You're going to have to go watch her, because her guy's going to win the match because she's in the corner. So you're just going to have to get over it. If you don't like it, get over it. She's the boss. She gets what she wants, as you can tell, because Ref Brandon knows what to say. All right, everybody. This has been Rasslin and Racin here every single Monday night. Of course, this was Tuesday night. We did that on purpose because we wanted to see how many more matches were added to some of these shows, and we wanted to be able to give you the right information. Of course, I killed all the names, so that's my fault. Anyway, brought to you by Ardensburg Grill in Central South Carolina. Also, we're brought to you by Beef and Ribs, South Carolina. Make sure you check out Ref and Brandon every day on Ref Brandon and the Todd Family YouTube channel. Go listen to him. He knows what he's talking about. He talks football. He talks wrestling. He's got his top 10 every Wednesday. Go listen to Ref Brandon. He is the man with the plan. This is Jay speaking. Thanks for listening.